Welcome back to Open Window Politics. You're going to be doing a prediction. In this case, it's going to be a best case scenario for the Republican candidate. I have characterized all of the safe, likely, and lean states. A few of these are actually a little bit off. We will change the ratings. I do think that Minnesota would most likely end up in the Democratic column, but it's certainly possible in a best case scenario that it would end up in the Republicans. But for now, we're going to go with a tilt blue rating, but we still have quite a few other states left here to characterize. I will start out on the West Coast and then move eastwards. On the West Coast, we have the blue wall of California, Oregon, and Washington, reliably blue Democratic states that, unless something crazy happens, will most certainly vote for the Democratic candidate. And I should know this is just with a generic Republican candidate, generic Democratic candidate, in a situation with a Republican victory on a large scale. So we will then characterize the state of Nevada. Trump was able to win Nevada. Definitely could see a world where it goes to the Republicans again. Generally, it's had a history of going for the Democratic Party, but Trump was able to turn it around. We also now currently have a Republican governor, and he, from what I can tell, is somewhat high approval ratings. So I do think that it is possible the state could, especially in best case scenario, go towards the Republican Party. Then we get to the state of Arizona. Arizona actually was the state that went most of the swing states that went most to Trump in the 2024 election. So it did go to Biden in 2020, but a bit of a different story there. But for now, we're going to characterize it as a leaning red state. With that, we get to 235 electoral college votes for the generic Republican to 193 for the generic Democrat. Things will get a little bit better for the Democrats in these next two states, though. I think that in a best case scenario, Colorado would be a lean state, and then New Mexico would be tilt. I think it's possible these two narrow up even more. It would take a lot for New Mexico to go to the Republican ticket, to vote for the Republican ticket, but it's certainly possible. I just don't expect it happening even in a best case scenario for the Republicans. And then we will get to the three Rust Belt states here. I think in this case, it would probably, I think there's a good chance they would all end up being in the lean Republican column. Generally, they vote together, and with that, that's enough electoral college votes to win the presidency for the Republican candidate, but there are still a few more states left to characterize. So I do think that the state of New Hampshire will most likely be in the Democratic column. That state and Minnesota are probably the two closer ones that I'm a little hesitant to call for the Democrats, even with the best case scenario. But for now, we'll go with that. And then I do think that the state of Virginia would most likely be in the tilt column. And then as far as the victory goes in North Carolina and Georgia, those two states would most likely end up being in the Republican column. Feel free to let me know if you have any questions about any of the states or any of my electoral projections we went over today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.